Hello and welcome back to the World Para-Alpine Skiing World Cup coverage. We're here in Sakhalin, an island just off the east coast of Russia, and we're ready for run 2 of the slalom. Well, there you go, some of the great shots that have been brought to you by the broadcasters here in Sakhalin. It's been a pleasure to be a part of the broadcast. There is one more day to come. We've got a parallel event tomorrow. Don't know what that is? Join me tomorrow and I'll explain all about it. Coverage from around about 1 o'clock tomorrow. We're not taking the prelims, but we are taking it from the heat section, so make sure you join us for that. All about the second run in the slalom now then. Thrown a few surprises this morning. The leader of the men's standing going out. Santeri Kivari doesn't come back for a second run. Winner of the giant slalom, Thomas Walsh. Perhaps fancied his chances here in slalom. He went out as well. So we're down to 2 in the VI women, 3 in the women's standing, 5 in the men's VI. We're down to 8 in the men's standing category. Thomas Hill had the best of the men's standing. Yulia Musova leads the way in the women's VI. Vavra Voronchikina continues from her giant slalom success and leads both Schmidt and Korasheva. And in the men's VI, Bertognoli, who had a hat-trick of success in Pratanovoso earlier on in the World Cup season, finds himself top again in front of Rekozhibov, but not by much at all. Warmed up a little from the morning. It was around about minus 13 this morning. It has warmed up somewhat. However, we have had a couple of fairly hefty snow flurries as well, so the course conditions will have changed over and over in the past few hours since you last joined us. Up, up, up. 70 gates have been added to the run this time around. The course itself spans 585 metres. Some of those that didn't make it to the second run will be looking back on reflection as the forerunners start to finish. First one down safely. The left-hand side today, we've got a forerunner for the VI as well, just to make sure they're happy with how the course runs for them guys. like coming down, looking down at Juzhno-Sakhalinsk, the town, population of over 400,000. The entire island only has a population of just over 500,000. This here is the first ever ski resort to be opened up in Russia. As mentioned earlier, a few surprises in terms of results this morning. Thomas Field will be delighted to be out front in the men's event, but Annually perhaps wasn't expecting as tight a challenge from Kozhubov as he got. In fact, halfway down the course, he was trailing. Managed to get himself 7/100 of a second ahead. There is the town down below. You pretty much just ski straight into it. Plenty of photo opportunities at the bottom. The foreigners making their way down pretty safely, so we won't be far away from getting the racing action going. As you can see, Fliegel went 1:29 exactly this morning, so she goes first. The two runs have their times combined, and the athlete with the lowest total of combined time wins the competition. It is that simple. Korosheva went 1:24, Schmidt 1:22, and as you can see, that time for Voronchikina 1:10, way out in front from the others. There is Mosova of Russia. One mistake could allow Fliegel to fight back. These guys have joined us to come and take a look. Voronchikina just going through the motions of the course that has been set out. Skiers get a chance to take a look at the course with their coaches. And then it's about remembering the line. Which parts do you not want to be on? And which part of it will get you down the fastest? Fantastic aerial shot that has been brought to us all the way throughout the competition. We haven't missed a moment of the action here in Sakhalin, and we won't. Final individual session, as I mentioned earlier, we'll have the parallel event tomorrow. Individuals racing off against each other. Promises to be pretty exciting. If you caught the team event at the back end of last season, then you'll know that it does add plenty of drama. quite tied up against that fence in that section. This is, of course, Lydia Schlegel coming down with Alexei Mayorov. Oh, they're going to try and make their way back up to the gate here. They've missed one. So any chances perhaps that Schlegel had of getting past Mosova will be diminishing here. So we have to hope that Mosova herself makes a mistake. And these two just having a few problems there getting back going as well. So managing to get on the steady path downwards. Schlegel will want to finish. He's completed her runs here so far in this competition. He has competed on and off at World Cups in the past. 28-year-old from Moscow. Very difficult if you can't commit your time fully to training, as some can. Often the standards between the elite and the rest do show. You think about women's VI category: Farkasova, Fitzpatrick, Knight, Perrine. You know, there's a whole host of athletes there that you would have to compete against and really push to try and beat them. Aigner coming through as well as a young talent. So the women's division certainly has plenty of stiff competition, and I'm sure by the time we roll round to Beijing, they'll all be competing heavily on the World Cup circuit once again. That's the moment that Schlegel's day is pretty much done. It's a hard graft when you're going uphill. That's those who do the Nordic events. Lead was 1.66, barring any real mistakes and a problem with the timing system. As you can see, it shouldn't be too difficult for Yulia Mosova to take this victory as she did yesterday. So they would come out to this section on the left-hand side where they're pretty close to the safety nets. But it's not the quickest of sections, so should always be fine through that part. Gives them a little bit of speed coming off the bank into the net weaving section. Denis Perevoshchikov is the guide, and Mosova does find herself 1.4 ahead. Now, this is the section that Schlegel lost loads of time, and she's gone through it flying. So this is the bit where this gap should open up quite merrily. Mosova taking her time. Very precise run for the B3 classified athlete. There you go, that gap jumps from 1.4 to 21.4. Tells you the issues that Schlegel had in her second run. So Mosova failing disaster will take this one. The 23-year-old again just meandering through almost this final section. Nearly a mistake from the guide there. He thought about going inside, you know, Denis, but a victory for Mosova nonetheless. section that Flegel had problems with. You can see here, once you're starting to climb, you're losing the time. No such problems for Musova. The guy did have an issue with I think it was the penultimate gate, but soon corrected his footwork. And Yulia Musova takes another victory here in Russia. So 301.12 ahead of Flegel's 323.20. Not sure if their plans are to go to Norway and Sweden, where the next two stages of the World Cup take place. If they do, expect more competition in the women's VI sections at those two events. Chikina just waiting in the wings to deliver her second run. Again, what should be a formality after the decent start she made in run one. Gorasheva and Schmidt fighting it out for second and third. That battle a little closer. Spectators of all ages taking in the action. Ivan Fretsev prepares for his run. Start the women's standing with Anastasia Gorasheva. A 23-year-old, impairment being cerebral palsy. Competed at 2 Paralympic Games. Best place finish on the international circuit. Oh, she's gone out of the side here. I was just going to say she got a 5th place in the slalom at the World Champs in 2015 in Canada. She's sliding out of a home World Cup, though. And finishes with a whimper. Head down and having a think. Hello. Just couldn't get back in. Really quite innocuous, that one. Just all of a sudden couldn't cut back in. And you do know. You missed that gate, you do know. Now, Bing Schmidt of Switzerland. Year-old went 1:22.12 this morning. She's got no qualms now about finishing in second. Just has to make sure she finishes. Neat so far from Schmidt. Went through the first timing section at 1:43, now 2:14 through the second intermediate section. And of course, should Chikina have an issue, another reason for Schmidt really making sure she finishes is that now she stands to be promoted to top spot. So there you go. Schmidt gets across the line. 2:43.51 is the official time. Now she has to wait. Maddie Bochet has been here competing in most of the action throughout the course of this week. However, deciding not to this time around. Now Voronchikina, mentioned already, with a World Cup victory here in the giant slalom. And she backed that up. Only needs to be a solid performance, but if you take your foot off the gas, are you really pushing yourself to see what you can do? She beat Maddie Bochet here at this World Cup. Better to test yourself here. That's exactly what she is doing, pushing as hard as she can. Already stretching it out to 19.5 nearly. Just shy of a 0.10 out. Clattering her way through the poles. This is neat from Voronchikina, and she certainly, at a young age, is showing us that she has every makings of being a future champion, perhaps at world or even to dream at Paralympic level. But Voronchikina certainly going to take the title here at this World Cup for the women's slalom, leaping around certain poles. So Voronchikina picks up the win, 2:20.13, well ahead by nearly 24 seconds of Bina Schmidt. Those two will find their way to the podium a little bit later. 2:20.13 for Voronchikina, beat Schmidt into second. Gorosheva doesn't finish her second run. Look back at the women's standing, and this is the end for Gorosheva, innocuous as it seemed. Schmidt did all she could to make sure she got down, but nobody was going to stop young Voronchikina on her way to back-to-back victories in the last couple of days. Men's VI contest does have a rather interesting battle for first. 7/100ths of a second separated Bertagnoli and Kozhubov. Hareos will look to pick up the scraps should anybody fail above him, if he can put in a decent run as well. This is Manek Kubatka from Slovakia. Lost his sight, age 9, when a spray can exploded. Kubatka feeling the full force of that in the face, resulting in pretty much complete loss of vision. Now, his vision, when tested, he fits into the lowest bracket as a B1 athlete. Up to B3 it goes. So it means that when measured, he had very little vision or none. So his goggles are blacked out. His factored time is much, much more severe than most. 56.47. What that means is the clock itself runs at a slower rate. It's manipulated by that percentage. See some athletes in the standing category who perhaps have lost limbs, being the hand or maybe even fingers, which prevents them from a ski pole, but their assessment would be that their clock should continue to run at 100%. Marek just having a few difficulties as he did this morning. For Marek, having a guide with a speaker on her back as well. Maria does it very, very well, and in fact guided Marek to World Championship gold in the giant slalom last year, and Marek really slipping and sliding, and sometimes once you get out of the groove, it's even harder to get back into it. Marek Kubacka just edging his way past that gate, and I think he and Maria might call that a day. I think they will. Edging out to the side. So Kubacka goes out, the 2019 World Giant Slalom gold medalist. Not to be his day at all in the slalom. Just there, colliding with that gate pole. Really took him off balance. Really took him out of the game mentally as well. And that was the end for him. So Ivan Frantsev is next. 27-year-old, he's off course as well. Well, German Agranovsky had to look behind him. He hadn't for a couple of gates. And when he did eventually look behind him, he found Frantsev at the side. Out goes the Russian. Back-to-back DNFs here. Frustration for the 27-year-old. Take a look here. He just gets off balance and then sort of slides down onto his right-hand side, and then with the right leg coming up, he couldn't steer. And off he went in towards the fencing area. Luckily, didn't collide. But that is Frantsev's day done as well. So we're whipping through all of the categories here. Miroslav Hreus. One Slovakian's been, one Slovakian's gone out. Hreus had a few hairy moments of his own in run number one. But Hreus is out as well. Well, again, the guide not noticing immediately, and look how far away Maros Hudik is from Miroslav Hreus. We're 3 for 3. Well, it's not like the conditions are horrific out there, so clearly this course has got its issues for the men's VI. Now, Valery Rikoshibov, if he fails, then it's handed to Bertagnoli on a plate, but I'm not sure the Italian wants it like that. He would rather be pushed. He's going to get pushed throughout the rest of the season and over the next few years with people like Mac Marcoux. So he may as well be tested, and Rikoshibov this morning went really, really well. The older statesman, 47 years of age now, double gold medal winner in Sochi, very renowned in these parts. He lives in Sochi now as well to make sure he gets maximum practice time. The snow is starting to drizzle down. It's not anything that's too serious. VI guys would be affected the most by falling snow. Rikoshibov leaping around. He may have missed one there. I'm not sure he has, but the arms went down by the side. Just have been having a breather, but Rikoshibov keeps on going. Is it good enough to put enough pressure on Bertagnoli? Bertagnoli has to make sure he finishes. Oh, and I think he straddled that one, and I think he knows it. Right at the end, that's the third to last pole. We'll see if we can get a replay of that, but Rikoshibov right at the end, I think he straddles that gate. Celebrate all you will, but I think we're 4 from 4 in DNFs here. But I think that one will take the jury to look at it afterwards. He gets an applause. Maybe somebody else hasn't spotted it, but I think that Kozhubov gets his right foot around the wrong side of that pole, and it's Bertagnoli's to win. He's got a time, Kozhubov, so that won't be assessed until afterwards, should it need to be. Now, if Bertagnoli was to fall, they really would have to go and look at that video. Maybe it was me. I think the body language told you at the end he missed it, but Bertagnoli might not need us to worry about things like that if he comes up with another Italian stunning performance. He gets a little out of shape in this section as well. That's where Kozhubov looked a bit awkward earlier. Bertagnoli following the instructions of Andrea Radelli, changing guide in the last 6 months or so. They do look good on it. Oh, and Bertagnoli has an issue as well. Now, I think that's 5 from 5. Bertagnoli may not register a time here. Well, he's going to, which will mean that the results will come up. Bertagnoli has the title, but I think he will be disqualified for not going round gates. And then the issue is to take a look at Kozhubov's run, because I think towards the end, he doesn't get through either. The results for a while won't change. That has to be looked at later. But for now, it's going to, the system itself is going to show Bertagnoli. You and I both saw that. He didn't get across the line. He knows. He didn't get across the line having hit all the gates. Kozhubov could be the one to profit. However, hopefully we'll see a replay of this before the end of the day. I don't think he makes gate 3 from home. All the drama, eh? Giacomo can't believe it. Well, there may not have been many of them here in Sakhalin, but the guys that have been competing really have offered us some entertainment. Well, that in the VI, 5 potential DNFs, and they're just going to have to wait. Well, Bertagnoli's has been called as a DSQ. That was too obvious, but I think Kozhubov's will be reviewed, and I think you might find that all 5 of those don't get a time in their second run. I won't lie, I've absolutely no idea what happens to the points at that point. I assume none are given. So Kozhubov, for now, takes this one, 2:03.79. Let's see what the review says later, shall we? Frustrated Bertagnoli. At least that's the figure he cuts.
Oh, can I keep it for a while?
Now, men standing last to come. We've got no sit skiers in this one. Sergei Alexandrov, double leg amputee from St. Petersburg. Having some difficulties and just about manoeuvring through that part there. Reminder that here is a guy that 2009 fell whilst climbing Mount Elbrus. Severely broke both his legs and ended up with frostbite as well. That resulted in the double amputation, so learning to develop his style as he learns to live with his acquired impairment. Shouts of encouragement from the side. Alexandrov weaves his way down to try and get a finish time over these two runs. Was out in Pyeongchang. Remember him being there. And he's neatly got over across the line as well there, Alexandrov. 2:52.43. A happy Alexandrov. Only 7 more to come. And if we start getting DNFs as we did in the men's VI, who knows how this podium is going to end up looking. Spencer Woods will know that he just needs to get to the bottom to stand a chance. A few of the big names in this one went earlier. Take your opportunity. Finish the race. See what happens. Wood will look to do just that. 23-year-old. Competed in the games back in 2018. Slalom DNF. He did come 9th at the World Championships in slalom. He's throwing himself into this one. One of quite a few athletes that shares a birthday when the World Cup circuit always seems to be on in the early part of the year. Ali Boucher, Binia Smith, Thomas Walsh. Quite a few of them have early year birthdays. Now, can Wood finish this properly? So Bertagnoli in the VI have an issue towards the end. No such issues for Wood. 2:23.23. He swings his arm in delight as he comes past my window.
11.23. Total time 2 minutes 23.23.
So Wood, it is. He could go and sit in the leader box chair if he wanted to. Perhaps he fancies Thomas Glocher will take it from him. Now, Glocher should have had a much better time this morning, and he really was quite disappointed when his reaction when he came through the line. He hit the deck halfway through the run. Difficult when he tries to get down on that left-hand side. Clattered into a couple of the poles, and they really dragged him back. If you don't get it right, you're too low where the tension doesn't allow the pole to go down, and it can drag you back. Those opportunities for Glocher to make time up. 3.64 ahead of Walsh. Again, those of you perhaps who have not watched a great deal of the Para-Alpine, using outriggers as opposed to conventional ski poles, you'll see that in the sit skiers throughout the week that we've had. Glocher pulling away, 6.52. Just got to navigate this bottom section on one leg, remember. Glocher gets there. 2:13, good run. Picked up 3 seconds advantage pretty much in each timing section. So Glocher does indeed go to the top of the class with just 5 to come.
Time of Thomas Glocher is 1 minute 3.72. Total time.
This is Alexei Mikushin. Alexei, single arm skier, amputation on his left side. Another still fairly young, just 21. section there. Getting the skis off the ground to be able to drive the feet back in. You see, I'm just getting off a fraction to be able to turn. He's 0.3 ahead. Batting the poles away from himself each time. Acquired his impairment back in 2007 during a ski training accident. He had to completely readapt everything he knew about skiing. He has dropped time here, 1.05. That was a good run from Glockau. We said that. This morning's first run from him, where he was disappointed, was a good finish from the Kushin. Questionable gate, about 6 from home, but he'll get there, and he is behind. So Glockau, in his attempt to try and clamber up onto the podium places, that's one of the obstacles out the way. Just 4 more to come. Glockau's run was good. Prijancic, though, was almost 2 seconds more to the good. Over 2 seconds, nearly 3, 2.81 the distance between Prijancic and Glockau at the start of this run as he got this. Nico was the shout, the man from Grobaznitz in Austria, born without his right forearm. Again, that mixture of athletes that compete here in the world of parasport, some born with their impairments, others acquiring. And Nico 282, which means he's quite comfortably in front at the moment. No space for an error though. Good so far. Prijancic will finish strongly, and that's his play. Oh, in fact, it closes right down, doesn't it? Well, it shows you how good Glockau's second run was. Did have an issue there. Prijancic halfway down, but he wiped out nearly all. And I say nearly because he does survive. 0.27 ahead of Glockau. Now, Alabiev next up for Russia. Good run from Alexander Alabiev. '29-year-old. Good as well here, 2.22 is the distance he is ahead. But Glockau had a very good bottom section. So too did Bakushin a little bit before that, but Glockau really pushing the timing for everybody else. 2:13.41 is what we're looking for in the bottom right of your screen. Anything better than 2:13.41. Alexander Alabiev of Russia has a home podium place guaranteed. Can he do it? 2:13. He should be all right here. He's more than all right. 2:09.95. Good run from Alabiev. Prijancic's time in the leader box comes to an end.
2 minutes 9.95.
There's the current leader. He waits. Markus Salcher gets himself at the start gate. mistakes from anyone so far in the men's standing, unlike the VI. Are one of these two going to be our DNF? And they got this down. Salka driving in 1.07. He now leads. Markus Salka is now in the gold medal position. Top marks, top points are all his at the moment. And then he gets to wait for Thomas Field. But Salka has to keep that speed up, has to keep in between those gates. Let's take a look at the second intermediate time coming up then. And he's down. He has slowed. And all of a sudden, Alabyev is guaranteed second. Unless Salka has got something big in this bottom section. We've seen some decent performances from Markus Salka. He beat Arthur Barchet earlier on in the week. Can he rescue this one? No, he can't. 2:11.10. He's behind Alabyev by over a second. Only Thomas Field can prevent the Russian from winning. Salka didn't particularly have a section where it was overly obvious he had a problem. Clearly just couldn't get the speed and the movement where he needed it. Big opportunity for Field to take maximum points here at the World Cup. He's got plenty of medals from previous big tournaments. He's a man full of experience. As the youngsters have come and gone over the years. 22-year-old still here. Now he's got a slide. 2 seconds he was up. That was a little bit of a slide from Field. How much will that cost him? He's now getting a little bit ragged through this section as well. How much will he lose? Alabyev of Russia, 2:09.95. He's sneaked his way inside the 2:10 mark, and that lead has dropped in half. 0.96. Oh, Field is wide again. Drama right to the end. It's the final individual competition of this World Cup here. We have got a parallel event tomorrow, but Thomas Field giving us the drama. Has Alabyev won it on home snow, or can Field find something quick in this last section? Inside 2:10. Great finish. Great finish, Thomas Field. He's hung on. 0.65. Alabyev shakes his head. Oh, 0.65. Alexander Alabyev couldn't have done any more. Thomas Field here. That could have been the moment it all disappeared. He's composed himself. He's reset himself. And he's took the World Cup top spot here in the slalom. Only just, though. He'll look at this back and he will know he has got out of jail big style towards the end. Well, Phil does it. 2:09.3, 2:09.95. Alexander Alabyev really pushed everyone towards the end, and out of breath, Thomas Field. He'll be delighted with the victory, but he knows he's had to work for it. Well, we started with the women's VI after the second run. Yulia Mosova clearly in the win. 3:01.12 from Schlegel's 3:23.20. Just 3 athletes in the women's standing. Got to be in it to win it. Voronchikina got 2 decent runs. 2:20. Gorasheva couldn't finish. Schmidt sandwiched in between. Men's vision impaired. Up next, and I'm not sure we really have the true results. Rekozhibov, for me, during commentary, I felt that he missed a gate. That might get reviewed. However, the scoring system is like this. Kozhubov takes it, 2:03.79. Bertragnoli obviously missed the last 6 or 7 gates. He got disqualified. The other 3 all slid out of the competition quite early. Does Kozhubov win it? We'll find out later. Check on the old website for more details on that one. And then we finished with more drama. If it wasn't dramatic enough with the VI, Thomas Phil made us sweat towards the end. Alabiev was better than Salka. He dropped time. The Russian must have thought it was his day when Phil had a big slide out towards the end. But the Swiss athlete composed himself and took victory. And that's all she wrote. That's everything from here inside Sakhalin. Join us tomorrow at 1 o'clock local time for the parallel event. The World Cup part of it is now done. From myself, Alan Martin, everybody here, goodbye.